beautiful, huh? It's like looking at snow. Yo, what up YouTube? This is Sergio Forty5 with another video, and today we're going to be talking about something that's extremely unique, extremely special to me, special to many others, and also something that I'm very honored to be and blessed to have the opportunity to share with all of you. So there's a few things. If you can't tell by now by my hat or that picture up there, we're going to be talking about something that's known as the Bataan Death March. If you can't tell by that hat or that plaque, I'm in the military. I have been for nearly 7 years, and I just want to give you guys a little backstory on that because I know I'm going to receive questions about it anyway. I started my career in June of 2012, so actually June 18th, 2019 this year will be my 7-year mark. So I'll tell you all a few of the places I've served, my job, and just things that go on with the military, things that I've done. So I started out, became a soldier in Georgia, went to basic training in Georgia. After that, I went to job training in Texas. And then I was given the opportunity to go serve in Maryland for 3 years, which was cool because I'd never been there before out to the East Coast like that. Overall, I enjoyed most of my time there. Then after that, I went back to Texas for some additional job training, so maybe 3 or 4 months. This is where it gets really cool. I was given the opportunity to go serve, and I was very honored and blessed to do so, but serve in Germany for a little bit under 2.5 years, a place called Baumholder. A great place, a great community, small base, but just a wonderful place to go. I served there for about 2.5 years. Then I came back to the States in January of 2018, and I served in Texas for a year in a different place in Central Texas. Now, actually, I'm back in Oklahoma. What's cool about that is to serve in Oklahoma, this is my home state. This is where I joined the military from. This is where I grew up. A lot of my family's here. Every weekend, my family only lives about an hour and a half away. Every weekend, I'm blessed with the opportunity to go spend more time with my mom, my dad, my siblings, brothers, sisters, some old friends from high school. I even do that sometimes after work, which is cool. I get to go see my dogs. I get to have a blast, all right? So I get to not only serve, I'm blessed with the opportunity to serve here, but also spend time with my family up there, which is super awesome. By trade, I'm a dental hygienist. I've been doing this for a few years now. I didn't start off as such. Pretty much always been dental my whole career. I'm currently working in a supply position, so I'm really not cleaning teeth. I'm not practicing like that. I do sometimes, not very often. It's cool. It's a good learning experience. Anyway, getting into Bataan Death March, I was so honored and so blessed to have been able to travel to New Mexico. I got to travel with one of the other soldiers that I work with. Such a great experience for us both. I'd never been to New Mexico, so it was super beautiful. That's what that's one of the things that I enjoy about the military a lot. You get to go see new states, new countries. Served in Italy for almost a month at one time. I also got an opportunity to serve in the Netherlands, which was super cool. Very wonderful people in both places. Did all that while I was currently living in Europe anyway, in Germany or Deutschland. New Mexico, such a great experience. The Bataan Death March was actually really hard. It's 26.2 miles rucking. When I say rucking, you get a backpack basically with X amount of weight and you march. Ours was 26.2 miles, so a marathon. It wasn't really the ruck that was hard. What was hard about it, one, we didn't eat breakfast that day, so we got up really early. We didn't eat breakfast that day, and then also it's not all on a road or anything. Part of it's on a road, but the vast majority of that march is on dirt and sand, which is super hard. We didn't train up either. We thought about it beforehand. We had discussed it, and then we kind of came to the conclusion, like, train up for what? We're just walking, However, we should have trained up because we were both hurting both during the march itself and then absolutely after for about a week past the ruck march. All right, it was a wonderful experience. Throughout this video, one, I'm going to talk about obviously the ruck march, how our experience went. I will talk about the history of it, the history of the soldiers who actually did the original march, which was actually 65 miles, and it actually took place on April 9th, 1942, if I'm not mistaken. Also in this video, you can expect from me different videos that I actually took whenever, one, I was out there on the ruck march, and then afterwards we visited a nationally known spot called White Sands, and there's actually white sand. It's really cool. I'll give you an opportunity to see that as well. And then at the end, there's also going to be a lot of photos. We both took tons of photos. So stick around for that. Stick around for the history of Bataan Death March. I cannot wait to share it with you. Just stay tuned for that.
Good morning, everyone. How you doing? All right. Hey, welcome. Look around you. There are more than 8,600 military members and civilians from all 50 states and 12 different countries. endure the 30th annual Bataan Memorial Death March. While you're out on the course today, I want you to remember why we conduct this event every year. Is to honor the heroes of the greatest generation, the heroes of the Bataan Death March. These 5 men and their comrades who are no longer with us. They endured marching 65 miles, weary, wounded, in heat and malaria with very little food and water. Their physical and spiritual strength was tested along the way. As you walk through the desert terrain today, you'll find yourself struggling to get to that next mile marker or to overcome the pain in your body. Remember what these great Americans and their Filipino allies endured, knowing that when they reach the end of that march, they're only going to be held in a prisoner of war camp with more pain, suffering, and possibly death. Testament to their strength and courage to keep marching and to finish. I want to personally thank the wounded warriors for your sacrifice and for participation in this event. I know you will inspire many others along the way. As you march along the course, you will encounter many, the several hundred volunteers who make this event possible. Please take the time and thank them. Their devotion and commitment to the Bataan Death March makes this entire event possible, and it couldn't happen without them. Thank you for being such a part of an amazing and epic event today. We'll see you along the course or at the finish line, and because this is the largest Bataan Memorial Death March out of all 30, I think it'll be only appropriate on the count of 3. I want you to shout out so these gentlemen can hear you. Remember Bataan Hua. All right, on the count of 3. Remember Bataan Hua. 1, 2, 3.
Remember Bataan Hua! Yo, what up, YouTube? Sergio Forty5. If you didn't know by now I think it's a good time to tell you I'm a soldier. We're here in New Mexico. There's a lot of soldiers here. There's 8,600 people here. We're doing the Bataan Death March. And I'll tell you a little bit about the history later. I guess we'll just keep walking. They did call light, but everybody's going anyway. So we're in New Mexico. This place is freaking gorgeous. We're doing this march in memory of soldiers from 1942 who were forced to march 65 miles to the Philippines with horrible conditions. So just to recognize them, keep the memory going, and be thankful for what we got. So just doing some thinking, we just passed mile 4 and it's been a smooth ride so far. 1, the scenery of this place is beautiful, and then 2, I think oftentimes us as Americans or as people, we take for granted the things that we do have and worry about the things that we don't have, that we wish we had. Now, that's okay, all right? However, if you look at the people that came before us, especially soldiers, right? Soldiers, Marines, airmen, whatever. They died for our rights to have the experiences that we have, all right? Me, myself, I'm very thankful for that. I just want to share that with you guys, And like I said before, if you didn't know, we're all soldiers now. Oh, man. But yeah, there's just something to ponder on. Think about those things. If it wasn't for those brave men and women who came before us, one, like myself and the other soldiers here, we wouldn't have the opportunity to serve you guys. And then others around the world, Also, another thing, just real quick, off top, I've learned by being here is that New Mexico is one of the most beautiful states that God ever created. And I'm so thankful for this experience. My brother and I got to drive up here from Oklahoma, take advantage of this, get to hear some nice country music, see a lot of soldiers and civilians out here working, honoring the ones who came before us. So just ponder on that, think about that. I challenge you guys to do that. All right, see you all in a few. Just past mile 4. Yep. All right, so we're on like mile 9, 10, something like that. I can't even remember. We're going up this long hill. And what's been really cool is how when folks run by, go in the opposite direction, because there's some people like us who are rucking and others who are running, and then there's more who's running with us. But everybody's cheering them on and all these good things. And you really become thankful for the things that we're blessed to have. And it reminds you of the guys who, again, went before us. I think the year was, it's like 9 April 1942. So these guys went through a lot, you know, and we're out here seeing a lot of other veterans and stuff. Some that served in the 70s, some that served in the 80s, 90s, today, whatever. It's been a really unique experience. So, oh man. As you can see, I'm a little tired, a little dehydrated too, but I'll be all right. Oh, so we just passed mile 14, just kind of chilling, hanging out with some people. You want to be on YouTube? No? No, go ahead. This place is beautiful, a little tired, but it's great. Yeah, having a good time. But let me show y'all. I don't know how well y'all can see, but y'all should be out here. It's called Bataan Death March. Spelled B-A-T-A-A-N, Death March. Oh, man. But just chilling. I got like 12 more miles to go. I'm very grateful for this experience. Met a lot of great people here. Currently, I'm at 33,553 steps. So I suppose I'll be around 60 or 70,000 by the time we actually finish. Again, this is a very honorable event. There's a lot of people here. There's a lot of civilians here. There's some airmen, a ton of soldiers, some Marines. Everybody's got their guidons and just having a great time. Just remembering those that came before us, both the survivors and the fallen, you know. Let you know how lucky we are in the world and blessed to have the things that we have and not have to deal with some of the things that other people dealt with in the past. Kind of broaden your horizon and change your perspective on some things a little bit. At least that's what I've gained since I've been here. Also, can't stress enough, this is a very, very, very beautiful state. So if you get an opportunity, you've never been to New Mexico, go to New Mexico. But I think we're gonna get marching again, so I'll holler at you guys later.
Guys ready?
Yeah. So I think we're on mile 18, walking with my guys, you know, having good conversation and everything. It's pretty much all downhill from here, so it's pretty good. Look at the background. Look how beautiful this place is. Look at this, I'll show you more. Yeah, this place is beautiful, and I'll teach you a little bit about perseverance, all right? When things are a little difficult or whatever, but you're mentally tough, you got it. We didn't even train up. We're making it happen, you know. My feet hurt, but making it happen. We just passed mile 23 and we are tired and hurting. Like I can feel it in my feet. I know I have blisters as well as my knees, which is not fun, but mental toughness, right? Just be tough, make it through. We're almost finished anyway. This will probably be the slowest 3 miles. We were just discussing that. But yeah, mental toughness. Oh man. And then I'll show you guys some more of New Mexico. It's pretty cool if you ask me. Very beautiful place. Oh, made it to mile 26, and I guess they're gonna provide us with some kind of meal, which is awesome. I feel like whoever did this thing deserves that. How you doing, sir? Cool. But as you can tell, we're tired. All right. And yeah, blessed. Super blessed. All right. I'll talk to you guys in a short little minute. All right. When we finish, they give us this big like necklace medallion type thing, and it says the, you know, Bataan Death March 2019, and it says finisher at the bottom. It's really cool. Basically, this will just tell you how beautiful places around the world are, the places you would have never known if you didn't give yourself an opportunity to go get beat up for 26 miles, ruck marching with 35 pounds on your back in a backpack or a pack or a rucksack or whatever you want to call it. A German word would be rucksack. You know, so we were heading out of New Mexico and we saw this national monument. We came through the gate, we saw the prices. So we just decided, you know what, we'll ask them, how much is it? You know, do you guys do a military discount? Showed them our IDs and they were like, U.S. military? Yes, sir. It's like, all right, well, you're good to go. So I was like, well, how much? I was going in my wallet and dude was like, gentleman was like, free, and gave us like a brochure. So places to check out while we're down here. But we decided to walk over here, again, walking like old men, and just check this place out. See, perseverance, man. You push through 26 miles, only to be hurting the next day with blisters on your feet and your calves hurt and your leg, the rest of your legs hurt, your back hurts, everything. My shoulders hurt from carrying that pack around. And I'm sure many others do too as well. But then you come over here and you see this place. This is like being at a beach without the water, you know. It's really, really cool. It's sunny, but there's a breeze and it's not humid or anything. So it's not like we're sweating or anything like that. Just right here, just very encouraging just to push through that 26 miles so you can see places like this and see it as a winner. Look how beautiful this place is. Like, oh, man. You know, if you're from New Mexico and you haven't checked this out, you need to come and check this out. If you're not from New Mexico, come and check this place out anyway. This state is beautiful. If you like being outdoors, this is like the perfect place to go. There's plenty of hiking. You go through the plateaus, just a beautiful sight. And there's plateaus everywhere. It's encouraging to see because, you know, we look at it and there's 50 states and I haven't been to all 50. I've been to a bunch of them, but I haven't been all 50, and this just encourages me to go check out more of my own country. And then on top of that, go see the other beauties of the world, you know? Even if you do have to ruck march somewhere, you know, it just, as long as you can see the end, you can get there, and then you can have beautiful, beautiful sights like this one. So you guys let me know what you think. If you plan on ever coming out here, you know, it's definitely worth it. I encourage everybody to do the same. My buddy and I, we've had a great time. Can't wait to do it again next year. So you guys let me know what you think of this place. This place is gorgeous. Now we venture into the sad and brutal history of the original march, the one that we now call Bataan Death March. Prior to the actual march that took place on 9 April 1942, the Americans and Filipino soldiers had been fighting off the Japanese with no naval nor air support. And the reason they had no naval or air support was because the Japanese had invaded one day after the bombing of Pearl Harbor. The American and Filipino forces did a really, really, really outstanding job fighting them off for a few months until General Edward King Jr. was forced to surrender and march by the Japanese forces. Now, the original plan for the American and Filipinos that were participating in this march, obviously by force, was meant for it to be peaceful. And that was a decision made by the Lieutenant General in the Japanese Army. Now, however, the Japanese officers and soldiers on the ground definitely had different plans in mind. They made this approximate 5 to 6 day march, 65 miles, all right? Some accounts say 60, some accounts say 69 miles. So approximately 65-mile march. Brutal, for a lack of a better word. Very, very brutal and horrible and horrific. Any negative thing that you can think of could somewhat explain what these men went through from both the American and Filipino Army. That was 75,000 troops approximately, about 65,000 from the Filipino Army and about 10,000 from the U.S. military that was made to march. The things that they went through on the march were crazy. A lot of people died. Approximately between 500 and 650 American soldiers were killed, as well as anywhere from 5,000 to 18,000 Filipino troops were killed. So approximately about 20,000 died or were killed along the march. Now, there was many different things that the Japanese did to both the Filipino and American soldiers. A lot of it was obviously torture. They were beaten for gold teeth. They were beaten just because they wanted to beat them. A lot of their valuables and personal belongings were stolen by the Japanese soldiers. They were stabbed by bayonets at random for no reason. If they weren't even referred to as POWs. The Japanese would call them captives. Wouldn't even refer to them as POWs. They also would stab them with bayonets and knives just randomly along the march. If they fell, they had a cleanup crew because soldiers couldn't march anymore or they were having a hard time marching. They'd be run over by cars. Very rarely was there any kind of humility displayed by the Japanese soldiers to the American Filipino Allied Forces during that time. And they were also divided into groups of 100. When they started the march, it would take each group anywhere from 5 to 6 days. Now, along the way, they were also tortured, and some of that torture would be an example of this, that they were made to strip down and bask in the sun as torture now for X amount of hours. Mind you, they also hadn't eaten, they hadn't been able to drink. In fact, if they asked for water along the trail, oftentimes they were shot and killed. Also, another thing they would make them do is the Japanese would make the Filipino or American soldiers strip down and sit by some pure, clean water they otherwise would be able to drink and just stay there. They couldn't touch it, they couldn't drink the water, but they had to see it, and they were close to it. As they marched, they starved to death, they suffered from disease, and due to the lack of medical personnel or medical treatment, the American soldiers would use what they could to apply medical care to each other as well as to the Filipino soldiers. Once they hit a certain point, they had to get on a train. And on this train, as by one account was described as World War I style train, 10 metal cars on the train cars. They could also reach heat up to 110 degrees Fahrenheit. Imagine you couldn't eat, you couldn't drink, you're already wounded, you've been fighting, and now you have to march to 65 miles, and when you get to a certain point, about miles 55, 56, now you have to get on this train that is completely, essentially metal, and it's very hot, and granted it wasn't summer, but you don't have to have been to the Philippines to understand, to know how hot the Philippines can be. That just all made for a bad recipe, or a recipe for disaster. If you needed to go to the restroom, especially when you got on the train, you went on yourself. You went where you were sitting. You couldn't get up. You couldn't do anything. And they were all packed into these train cars, and they had to try to survive. Now the ride was only approximately about an hour, based off of what I read. However, imagine being all bunched up and stuffed up next to guys that have to go to the restroom, that can't drink anything, that haven't eaten, that haven't showered, anything like that. Also, it's 110 degrees on the train. Hopefully, if you make it there, when you get out, you have to start marching again. They had to march 9 more miles once they made that trip, if they lived, to a prison camp. After it was over, the lieutenant general who was in charge of making this, claimed that he didn't know that they were treated so horribly, because he originally wanted them to march in peace so he could try to get out of any kind of repercussions or any kind of war crimes or anything. However, long story short, he was indicted on 43 war crimes and was sentenced to death. So they shot him on 3 April 1945, I think the date was. My date might be a little off, but as far as I know he was shot for sure in April of whatever year. Positive thing is that there's, across the states and across the Philippines, there's been numerous monuments, many schools, many statues, and just different things that have, and museums that have been dedicated to the members that were forced to participate in the original Bataan Death March. The march actually hit the state of New Mexico extremely hard, and the reason why is that many of the U.S. soldiers that were forced to march were from New Mexico, primarily from the 200th and the 515th Coast Artillery of the National Guard. There was a monument established for those soldiers in Las Cruces, New Mexico, which is where my brother and I actually stayed at the hotel for the weekend of the Bataan Death March. But anyway, the monument is depicting a Filipino soldier with 2 American soldiers marching, and 2 of them are carrying the 3rd soldier. They're basically carrying him or walking with him so that he doesn't fall out and die, so that he doesn't fall and get run over by a car, or he's shot to death, or stabbed, or tortured, or anything. So that's pretty cool that that's been established for them. Our experience on the march, we did 26.2 miles, but we didn't even have to experience near even 1% of the hardship that they had to experience. And when I say they, I mean the original soldiers from the original march, both Filipino and American. We were in a controlled environment. Yeah, the sun was out, and it's hard walking 26.2 miles with 35 pounds plus on your back and a backpack or a rucksack. These men had to worry about getting killed. These men couldn't eat. We had food or drink. We had food and water at every single mile point, at least oranges, small parts of bananas, water, and Gatorade, as well as at mile 14, 15, they were also selling burgers and hot dogs. things of that nature. We were in a controlled environment. All we had to do was go out there and walk and pass and succeed. There was also, it's eye-opening because there was also a bunch of other people that are, some of them were double amputees, some of them were single amputees, they have prosthetics, and they're still out there getting it, still working hard. At one point in time, we saw somebody who was being carried, pushed in a wheelchair by his buddies, so just so that he could participate. And he was a double amputee, which is amazing, and that just symbolizes perseverance, mental toughness, and what it means to keep pushing whenever you're forced into a moment or a few days or a week of adversity and you don't know if you're gonna live or not. In conclusion with that, highly encouraged. I challenge everybody watching this video, for anybody who's going through anything hard that they think that they can't get through, or they've experienced a time in life where it was very, very difficult for them and they didn't think they were gonna be able to push past and succeed. Remember these brave men who were forced to march 65 miles approximately, harsh, horrible conditions. If they can get through that, then we can get through whatever obstacles are put in our way. We can always push back, push past any kind of adversity, and we can always persevere, and mental toughness takes you a long way. In conclusion, to be positive, we march to remember these brave men who marched, and many of them passed away. As of 2012, less than 1,000 surviving members from the original Bataan Death March were still alive. At least for the American side of things, right now, as far as I know, there's maybe 3, and there was only 1 Medal of Honor recipient, which is amazing. That's outstanding. If it was me, I feel like every single one of these, both who passed during the march, who passed after the march, who passed last year, I think that they all deserve the Medal of Honor for their courageous actions and their ability to persevere and prosper in life. And like I said, in closing, we march to remember those that came before us. And I hope to see many, many, many more people out next year. You can give yourself an opportunity to experience just an amazing experience of a lifetime and see a beautiful state and be educated off of what these brave men went through. Learn from it. Know that no matter what in life, no matter what obstacles come your way, you can always, 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 always persevere, move forward, and accomplish anything that you set your mind to, and overcome any obstacle that gets in your way. We march to remember. Yo, what up, ladies and gentlemen? Thank you so much for watching this video. If you're new, please like and subscribe. And if you've been here before and you've seen my videos and you enjoy my content, if you believe in my content, I would love to ask you for your help. I want to grow this channel. I know that I'm in the military, I'm in the Army. I really enjoy being in the military and serving other people, but I also understand and I know that one day the Army is gonna end for me. I'm gonna take off the uniform and I'm gonna step into something new. Whether I just get out or I retire, I just know it's gonna end at some point in time. What I would really love to do is eventually be able to do this channel, do YouTube full time. So if I may, I would like to ask you for your help. I really, really want to grow this channel. If you could, maybe you just share a link to Twitter, or you screenshot the video or my channel and you post it on IG or Snapchat, maybe Reddit. And if you could, maybe you share a link to Facebook or MySpace if you want. just whatever you want to do. I would really appreciate that. I already appreciate all of you all for constantly watching, being a part of my journey, and this becomes our journey in doing so. But like I said, I really would love to do this full time at some point in time after the military, and I just greatly appreciate it if you could help me out. This is me just being honest with you all. I just want to grow. So if you could do so, please help me out by sharing my YouTube channel or my videos to your different social media platforms or with your friends, and help put me in a position that we can grow this thing together. I love you guys. Thank you for your continued support. If there's anything I can ever do for you, you just let me know. I love you guys, and you have a wonderful day or night, depending upon where you're at and what time it is. Love you guys. Talk to you guys later.